It's infinitely better than the first one, which is the main thing you need to know, but I bet you want to know more, so let's talk about it. Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel, and this is my review for The Suicide Squad, which is the sort of sequel to 2016's Suicide Squad from David Ayer. I say that because you don't really need to watch that first movie to understand this one. So this one here is written and directed by James Gunn, who is known for Slither, Super, and the Guardians of the Galaxy movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's also the 11th movie in the DC Extended Universe, or 10th if you don't count Zack Snyder's Justice League as its own movie, which I guess I do. I mean, if I consider the original Godzilla and its Americanized counterpart, King of the Monsters, as two separate movies, then I think it's okay to separate the theatrical Justice League from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Anyway, this movie once again follows the Suicide Squad, also known as Task Force X, who have been sent on a mission down to South America to try to take care of something called Project Starfish. And along the way, we get some new faces in the form of Bloodsport, Ratcatcher 2, Polka-Dot Man, Peacemaker, and King Shark, but also some familiar faces as well, such as Colonel Rick Flag, and everyone's favorite psychotic killer clown, and in my opinion, the MVP of the DCEU, Harley Quinn. So let me take you back to 2016 when the first Suicide Squad movie came out. I remember seeing it after work with a bunch of my friends, and everyone was kind of in agreement that the movie sucked. I was actually one of the few people out there that wasn't excited for this movie. Everyone else was really excited for it, and I couldn't understand why, because I thought to myself, man, this movie just doesn't look good, the trailers aren't doing it for me, and when the movie comes out, oh, guess what? I was right. But that being said, I'm also one of the few people out there that doesn't flat out hate this movie. It's terrible, sure, but I think by comparison of some of the previous movies that DC was making, it's more colorful, it's a little more light. It gave us Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, where even though I think she's underwhelming in that first movie, she's definitely stepped up her game the longer she's got to play the character. Even though the movie also gave us the single worst Joker ever with Jared Leto. It was just a mess of a movie, but at the end of the day, I keep telling myself, what would I rather prefer? Getting kicked in the head for 2 hours or getting kicked in the nuts for 3? I don't like either, but I'll take the one that's less painful and shorter. So now we have The Suicide Squad, and one of the things a lot of people have said about that first movie was that it was just a poor man's Guardians of the Galaxy. So Warner Brothers made the brilliant decision of, why don't we actually get James Gunn to make the sequel to Suicide Squad? And not only did that decision pay off in spades, but it results in my favorite DCEU movie. Sorry, Wonder Woman, you were number one for a long time, and I still love you, but your last 15 minutes are just not all that good. Everything about The Suicide Squad hits on all cylinders. It is such a fun movie, and it's just very, very creative. It basically is like Guardians of the Galaxy, except it's more violent, it's more insane, it's more just bonkers and out of control, and I pretty much loved every second of this movie. I might sound like a broken record when I say this, but everything that first movie did wrong, this movie does right. The action is just more exciting, it's more creative, it's definitely more violent and grotesque, which should be expected considering that most of these characters are not really all that good people. Some of them are, and I won't say much else, but a lot of people, especially Harley Quinn, are kind of villainous, and they don't really have a regard for human life. And speaking of Harley Quinn, just the amount of things that this movie gets away with in terms of its violence or just overall wackiness reminded me so much of the Harley Quinn animated series. And it really shows more than anything that this movie certainly lives up to its R rating. Unlike Zack Snyder's Justice League, which honestly had no reason at all to be rated R. As much as I enjoy that movie, you watch it and go, this is rated R in the sense that like a little kid would just say fuck a couple times, and it's not really deserving of an R rating at all. This movie really does earn its R rating, and like I said, the things that they get away with in terms of violence and just crudeness overall is astounding. And the element that is just as fun as the action and the violence are the characters. Unlike the first movie, a lot of these characters actually did stand out to me, and it's not just a select few people. I mean, there are some standouts of the movie, sure, like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and there are a lot of moments in this movie where she is just flat out sadistic and insane and crazy, but I love her regardless. Margot Robbie really has proven with this and Birds of Prey that she owns the character of Harley Quinn. And I don't think there's any other actress out there that could fill her shoes when it comes to live action Harley Quinn. And then you have Idris Elba as Bloodsport, who is certainly a massive improvement over Deadshot from the last movie. And he's certainly got some funny moments, but I feel like Bloodsport is certainly more of the heart of the movie. Him and Ratcatcher 2. Both of these characters, I feel, are a little more grounded. They keep the movie more natural. I mean, as natural as you can get with some of the weird things in this movie. And the actress who plays Ratcatcher 2, I'm probably gonna butcher her last name, but Daniela Melcorio, she's a Portuguese actress. She's really good as well. And as a millennial, she's probably one of the more relatable characters to me. She gets a lot of good laughs in this movie. But James Gunn never disregards the fact that she is one of the more important characters in terms of the film's story and just the overall heart. So I think both her and Bloodsport are the emotional center of this movie. And then you have John Cena as Peacemaker, who is the very antithesis of heart of this movie, because he pretty much is that type of character that will do whatever is necessary for freedom or for America, even if it's as fucked up as murdering innocent people. So he is definitely like Captain America if he was just blind to everything that America does. And this movie doesn't really shy away from having a message about how corrupt American interference in other countries can be. It's not so in your face to the point where it's distracting, but it is certainly there, and Peacemaker definitely represents that aspect. But putting that political subtext aside, John Cena really is good in this role, and he works in this movie in the same way Chris Pratt works as Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy, where this character was written to accommodate John Cena's strengths. Whenever he appears in movies, I always think John Cena is at his best when he's comedic, when he's funny, even if the movie is terrible. And it really paints a clear picture on why he's so bad in F9, because he's trying to be as serious as possible. Like, pretty much on the same level of Vin Diesel serious, but it just comes across as bad. But John Cena is certainly good in the Suicide Squad. And after seeing this movie, I cannot wait for the Peacemaker series. And then you have King Shark, who is probably going to be everyone's favorite character besides Harley Quinn. And he's essentially Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy, except he has more than 5 words. And I didn't think it was ever possible to make a great white shark as adorable as James Gunn made King Shark, but it works. And I think having Sylvester Stallone voice King Shark just makes him that much more lovable, because yeah, he's a man-eating shark, but you can't hate him. Like, there's just something so lovable about this character. And I think those jorts on King Shark definitely lend to the charm of this character. And then you have all the other members of the Suicide Squad. Some of them played by James Gunn regulars, like Michael Rooker, Nathan Fillion, and his brother Sean Gunn. But I can't say any more about these characters because I'm gonna end up spoiling bits of the movie. But I will say that they left more of an impression on me in this movie than all of the other squad members that popped up in the first one. Although I will say this about 2 of the returning cast members of the last movie. Viola Davis is back as Amanda Waller, and as much as I didn't like that first Suicide Squad movie, I always thought she was well cast as that character. And man, do you hate Amanda Waller. I mean, she was already meant to be an unlikable character in that first movie. But with this movie, now that there's a lot more at stake and you actually care about the main characters, she's just even more unlikable than ever. And Viola Davis's stone cold and monotone performance definitely makes Amanda Waller an interesting foe. And it makes me really curious to see what they're going to do with this character in the future, and if she'll actually pop up in Peacemaker. And then as for Joel Kinnaman as Colonel Rick Flag, I didn't think that character was anything in the first movie. I thought he was just kind of there, and Kinnaman's acting was just not that good. But in this movie though, they actually turned me around to his character. I found him to be very likable and just quite charming. He has a lot of funny moments as well to help make that character a big step up from the last movie. So I don't have much else to say about this movie because I don't have many complaints at all. If I had any complaints, it would be that there was some shoddy CGI. And there's a moment in the movie where one of the characters kind of contradicts the mission goal, but it's not a huge criticism. The movie overall is just a ton of fun. It's colorful, it's wacky, it's violent, it's over the top. It's got some really great characters, an amazing cast to boot, and like I said before, it has suddenly worked its way up past Wonder Woman as my favorite DCEU movie. I was almost going to say worth seeing in your lifetime just because it is such a massive step up from the first movie. But once you get to the big climax of the film and that giant battle with Starro, that just bumped it up to get off your ass and go see it right now. Well, I absolutely love this movie, and that big final battle with Starro, the giant starfish monster, I just have to wonder if James Gunn crafted that finale for me specifically, because it really, it's a giant monster. Like, what else do I have to say? It's awesome. And you've got a humanoid shark fighting it, so God, this movie is so awesome. If you hated the first Suicide Squad movie and you're cautious about this one, trust me, there is no way you're going to be disappointed in this. And if you love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, then you're definitely going to love this movie as well, because it's everything you'd expect, but done on an R-rated level. It is an absolute blast. And there you go, that's my review for The Suicide Squad. And between this, Birds of Prey, and the Harley Quinn animated series, I want to see more over-the-top, violent, and outlandish R-rated comedies from DC, and no more pretentious Oscar movies that think that they're more insightful than they actually are. But with that being said, I want to know what you guys think about The Suicide Squad. If you've seen it, what did you think? In terms of the DCEU, where does this rank? Is this one of your favorites? Is this one of your least favorites? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one. Hello everyone, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching my review for The Suicide Squad. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, go check out my Twitch channel, and support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.